ladies. How is everybody doing this lovely Thrive Thursday? Can you please unmute and say, hey, ladies?
Hey,
ladies.
hello.
Hey, ladies.
Hey.
Hey, ladies.
Hey, ladies.
So listen, y'all know that this is like my favorite time of the month, to get together with my girls and to have some conversations about how we can empower one another and just, fix each other's crowns. How's everybody doing?
Great.
Fantastic.
Awesome,
Great.
awesome. I need y'all to take out your phones. Go ahead and text your teams. Let all the ladies know that they definitely want to be on this call tonight. We only meet once a month, so you don't want to miss it, right? It's like, you get to have some tea with your girlfriends and then you mad because you missed the tea party. Like, you don't want to miss this at all. Okay. So, as everybody knows, or I hope everybody knows, I am your host, Crystal Clark. I am here in Virginia, and I have been hosting, thankful to you all, this Thrive Call now for about a year and a half, ladies. Let's clap it up. We've been having this call for a year and a half. Yes, right?
Congratulations.
And listen, let me tell you something. We're not going to talk about no stats. We're not going to talk about who got the most apps this week. This is a girls' call, okay? We're going to let our hair down and we're going to have some good authentic, I can't even say it, just some good authentic conversation. So I'm super excited to have everybody on. My voice has been going out up and down all day today, so please bear with me. I have a lady on tonight who has been, this girl been moving and shaking out here. I low-key been kind of like stalking her, watching her, because I'm always looking at social media and I just want to see, who's doing what out there? Who is another diva that I can talk to, that I can pull from, that I can learn from? And it never fails. I'll post stuff, then she'll post, or I'll have a number one, then she'll have the number one spot. And I'm like, wait a minute. I think I need to talk to her. I think she needs to be on Thrive. I think she needs to be a Thrive lady. So I would like for all of you all to give me a nice Thrive welcome for my new friend. I already told her she my new boo because we had a conversation yesterday and I swear I felt like we were, I don't know. I felt like we had already known each other for years. It was crazy, but that's what this business does, right? It allows you to connect with people and find kindred spirits and people that have the same things in common that you have, and you'll probably find out a whole lot more. So ladies, please clap, please unmute, give me some fire signs, some sounds, give me a warm round of applause for our guest tonight, Miss Meighan Adams.
Welcome.
Hey, Meighan.
Yeah.
So
Welcome,
listen,
Meighan.
hey, so listen, so the first thing I picked up on with Meighan is her accent is fire. Okay.
Yes, I'm in Alabama.
She is an Alabamian. If that is such a thing, I'm going to give it to her. But I just love her. So what's going on, Meighan? How you doing today, girl?
I'm good. I'm actually in the vehicle headed to baseball with my son, and I have my screaming 2-year-old in the back seat. So y'all only got like 1 more minute before we're there. My husband's gonna get her out.
Okay. Well, tell you what, I'm going to help you out. So Meighan has been in this business for over 5 years. I'm going to let her really talk about her background. I am not going to water it down at all. She has a phenomenal story. As you can see, she is a mother of 2 wonderful children, and she's also a hot mom. She has dogs just like I do. And if you didn't pay attention or hear from the beginning, she's in Alabama.
I'm
So,
in Alabama.
Alabama. So, listen, One of the things that I love about our Thrive calls is that we're mothers, we are daughters, we are wives, we are girlfriends, we're sisters, we're aunties, but most importantly, we're doctors, psychologists, medics, cooks. We're all of these things. And so, as you can see, she's, in transit right now with her children, and that's fine. We already had a conversation. It's totally okay because it's the girls' call. We can do what we want to do. It's totally fine. So, Meighan, tell us a little bit about how you got started in this industry and what really led you to this wonderful career of life insurance.
Yeah, so and thanks for having me, Crystal. Our conversation yesterday was great. I felt like I've known you for years. Um, so I was a nurse for 7 years. That was like my passion. I've always liked helping people. One day my husband came home from work and he was like, "Hey, look at this guy that I went to high school with. Like he's on stage, he's wearing nice clothes, he's got a fancy watch." And I was like, "Jesse, that's a scam. That's not real." I just called it how it was. And my husband Jesse was like, "Well, I want to look into it and see if it's something that, I can do," because he was working subcontracting for Alabama Power. So he was never home, and it was just me and our son at home, mostly, a month, 2 months at a time. So my husband got licensed, he passed his test, he got signed up with another practice company, which was it was a captive agency. So we really didn't know much about the insurance industry. He kind of put his foot into it. And then I was like, I guess I could help him. I guess I'll get my license. So I actually passed my test. Well, this was back when we were still in the field running business, right? So he was running in the field. I was dialing and booking his appointments, but I was going with him to the appointments. So it was just something we always loved doing on the weekends. It was just us. We were killing it. And then it was time for us to get out away from captive agencies, which that is, you're small, right? So we found FFL. We've been with FFL for 3.5, 4 years, and we've never looked back.
Awesome. Awesome. So I love the fact that your husband came in and you said, that's a scam.
Yeah.
Real?
Yeah. No, I swear it was. I was just like, he was like, "Meighan, you're gonna make all this money. You just sell people life insurance." And I'm thinking, nobody likes anybody that sells insurance. Like people avoid y'all. You know what I mean? People avoid people that sell life insurance. But
Yeah.
but truly, it's people back in the day. You know how like back in the day, life insurance agents is maybe what I had in my mind. Not like us. Like we're cool people.
Of course we're cool people. Like, hey, we're the coolest insurance agents we know, right?
That's right. And to be honest with you, I don't feel like I'm in a sales role at all. I feel like I'm here to help people. And I really stress that when I'm on the phone with them. I'm always like, "Hey, I'm not your typical salesperson. I'm here to help you. Like I'm not gonna call you a million times. I'm not gonna get on your nerves. I'm here to find out if we can get you approved, for the best policy for the best price. And that's what I do."
Absolutely. And so I love the fact that you are out with the family, you're mobile. Talk to me a little bit about like when you started, if my timeline serves me well, was it right before the pandemic
It
or
was
right in
right.
the middle?
Yeah, it was like right before it happened. So we were doing it part time, right, kind of before it happened, and we learned in home, right? So we
Mhm.
didn't know anything about phone, Zoom. We didn't know anything about that. And so when the pandemic happened, and everything kind of shifted, we had to figure out what to do. Like we just learned how to do this. He ended up quitting his job first, and then we had enough money for saved up where I could quit my job. And so I started doing it full time. But it was just really hard to transition. We went from in home to Zoom, And now I'm 100% telesales. And I honestly can't believe we didn't start telesales because I mean, it's so convenient, right?
Absolutely. Are you licensed in, I know you're licensed in multiple states, so I know that that definitely helps. But talk to me a little bit about like your work-life balance. I know you have two children, husband. Give me those dynamics as far as your work day and how are you making that work for you, especially now, with your little ones?
So obviously it's summertime. So kids are home more often. So the little one, she is going to be I'm sending her to summer school. She's going to the preschool for the summer. But my mom, she comes over and she helps watch the kids. You know, like if me and Jesse are working, she'll come during the week and watch them. And then, I mean, honestly, I just make sure to set out time that I can work, and I've got a goal every day I need to hit before I can get up and go out of the office, you know?
Yeah. And are you all home? You mentioned office, so do you go to a physical office or is it just like your home office?
Yeah, so it's my home office. So we had an office here in Birmingham, and before I had the baby, you know, it's just, it was just, I love being around people. And it's obviously, if you don't have an office, I suggest going to an office because it does help being around people that are doing this every day. And it helps with the negativity not to creep in, you know, when you're around other people doing it. So now we've got a house that has an extra room for an office. So I work from home every day.
Right. Yeah. You know what? I just thought about something, and I don't know why I didn't think about this before. Your baby is 2.
Hmm.
So 2 years ago, you were really well, 3 years ago, really getting into this. You had just transitioned from the captive agency, and then boom,
Yeah. And we
here comes
actually,
another baby.
I know, and my kids are 7 years apart. So it's, you know, we tried for a while to get pregnant and then it just happened at a random, you know, just the most random time. And then, you know, it is what it is. You know, I just kind of, we make it work. It's hard, but we make it work for sure.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second because I hate to say this, I'm kind of probably where you want to be. My children are 23 and 25. But they're still in my house, but they can drive, girl. They can
Right.
drive.
Right.
They can go. They can fix their own food,
That's
do
right.
stuff.
Yeah.
And so, having the little ones, talk to some of these mothers about how does that look with that balance? Because I remember when I was in corporate America and your children 7 years apart. Try 17 months apart.
Hmm.
That's mine. Yeah. So, so one in the bottle, one in a sippy cup, boom, one in diapers, one coming out of diapers. Like it was the never ending story. But with your children being so much apart and then you having your own home business, thank God for moms, right?
Yeah. 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 It's hard. It is very hard. So, you know, when I wake up in the morning, it's, you know, the baby, she's up, she's ready to go at it, right? She's wide open. She, like y'all heard, she don't know how to be quiet. And, you know, it's just like earlier today, before we left to come to the ballpark, I got a call from a lead. And I told Jesse, I was like, I got to run upstairs and take this call. I ran upstairs, took the call, ended up selling him. And it was $20,000 policy for $220 a month and literally did not work today. But he called me, you know, when I saw him calling me back, I got immediately on the phone with him, you know? So it's just random. It's just so random, you know, like obviously I have a set schedule throughout the weekdays. The weekends are really hard for me, you know, to be laser focused in the business only because I have the 2-year-old. And, you know, I mean, I always tell the people that I'm on the phone with, hey, I've got a kid. I'm sure you're going to hear, you know, and they actually like it, you know, they're
Yeah.
like, that actually shows and proves that you're a real person. So, you know, I just kind of, I mean, it is what it is. I got to do it, you know?
I think, I've had a lot of mothers on this call, and that's the one thing that I love about Thrive is because most of us are mothers, not all of us, but, some of us are mothers, and it's just that work-life balance. We talk about it all the time. And I love the fact that, you did not, it's the excuses are off the table, right? You have a
Mhm.
goal or you're at least in it to win it. And speaking of goal, I believe it's Jonna asked in the chat. She said, what is your daily goal? What is the goal? Or better yet, talk to us about like how do you set up your goals and how do you work that, especially with the work dynamic that you have?
So this is actually funny. So in the mornings before I would drop the kids off at school, I would always ask my son, "Hey, how many policies do I have to sell today?" And he would throw out a number, and I would try to meet that number every single day, right? So he would be like, 3 policies. Okay, well, by the time he gets home, I have to have 3 sold, right? By 3 o'clock. And, some days he'll say 2. And if I only sell 1, I just put myself in the negatives, knowing the next day I've got to catch up. So, I mean, that's just, we keep it, I keep it so simple. I'd never try to overcomplicate stuff just because, I mean, my life is already so complicated. So I just keep it simple. I just always ask him, "Hey, how many do I need to sell today?" And he'll be like, 1. He'll give me an easy day. 1. I'm like, "Okay, I got that." But that doesn't mean I stop. I keep going. But as long as I get however many he wants me to sell done, I know I'm good.
Right. There we go. I love the partnership, A lot of the ladies that I have up here, some is partnership, some is, they are their own incorporation and it's just I'm managing everything. So I love the fact that it's like, okay, I have this goal, this is it for the day. All right, if I hit my goal, I'm good. I get to stay in the house, right? If I don't
Yeah.
hit the goal, then oh man, I gotta double up tomorrow with the world. Ah,
Right. Right.
So
Yeah, for sure.
going back to when you mentioned, apologizing, letting people know, it's really, you know, evident that again, we're in different environments. We are pretty removed, I think, a little now from the pandemic, in some
Right.
ways. But people still have, or our audience still has, the understanding that a lot of people are still working from home. And it's okay.
Hmm.
It's okay to just put it out there and to say it. So, what would you say are your do you have any drop dead like absolutes for yourself for this year? Because I understand, you do have a little 2-year-old. You are a super mom. You are doing lots of things. You're in the car right now. Like
I know.
it's so, and it's summertime, and you're right, it is summertime. I had to girl, I gotta apologize. I had to realize I saw a school bus the other day and I said, preschool about out, like it's
Yeah.
summertime. So that means that people are going to be outside now. Traffic is
Right.
crazy and everybody's moving around. And so how do you feel about like as far as you with your goals and then the dynamics of this summer? Like how are you what can you give to the ladies to help us maneuver as to how you're maneuvering with through it all?
Well, um, so like today, for example, my mom, she had to go to Georgia because my cousin, his babies were being born today. So my mom couldn't be there today to help me with the kids. So, I mean, sometimes I just have to be like, okay, I'll just pick it back up tomorrow, right? I mean, sometimes you can't help it. But at the same time, if your phone is ringing, answer it. Never let it, if you've been dialing leads, even the day before, people usually call me back the next day, just go ahead and answer your phone. But I will say making sure that, like you got to have a positive attitude anytime. And I'm always usually really positive. Anytime I get down, like if I have been going through a rough patch the last few weeks. And I just kept telling myself, like, dude, I know I can do this. Like, literally haven't changed anything. I haven't done anything different. If I get up in the morning, write a few positive affirmations or whatever, like, I know I can do this. Ask, believe, receive, right? So like, that's what I told myself every day, like when I got up, and it just started happening, and I just always keep it so simple. I just always keep it simple. I never try to overcomplicate it. Um, Even though I'm not in an office anymore, I'm at my home. I try to get in Zoom as much as I can. Being around people that are doing it helps so much.
Mhm. Do y'all have a Zoom call for your team?
We do
For the
not.
team
So
Zoom?
I use the FFL all.
All,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I usually just will get in there with a few of my people and we'll just, get in a breakout room, and usually we take turns dialing to, whoever gets a call answered first. We just kind of listen to each other. But
Mhm.
I just keep it simple.
Yeah. There's a question in the chat, what are the things that you do in the moment that you don't feel so confident in your business that
Hang on.
allows you to maintain?
I can't hear you. Say it again.
Okay. I said there's a question in the chat. What are the
You
things
might be
that you
buffering.
do, and can you hear me? Uh-oh. She's
I
having.
can. I can.
Oh, okay, wonderful. All right, third time's a charm, girl. It's okay.
Sorry.
No, you're totally fine. So, question in the chat, what are some of the things that you do in the moment that you don't feel so confident? When you don't feel so confident in your business, what do you do to maintain that hunger to keep going when you don't feel like it? And I know where you are, especially being exhausted and wearing the hats that you wear. But what are some of the things that you do in those moments where you just tired, girl, you just don't feel like it?
I mean, I know I got to do it. Like, I'm not going back into, like I told you yesterday, I'm not going to clock back in at a job. That's not happening. So, I don't care if I need to buy freaking age leads. I don't care if I need to go back to the beginning of where I started getting leads from the CRM. I am going to work those leads until I get somebody on the phone. Like, I'm weird. I like to resolve every one of my leads. So even on my spreadsheet, you can even see, like, I've got, if I've talked to them and made contact and I didn't sell them, they're a certain color. If I sold them, they're a certain color. If they told me to call them back, they're a certain color. Like, I'm making contact with everybody on my lead list. So it doesn't matter if I'm not feeling it, or if I don't feel like buying more leads. I've got leads to work. Even though people aren't available right now, they're always going to be available if you keep calling them. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I'm just not going to work back at a 9-to-5 job. That's not happening. This has just been
Hey,
too good to me, and my life's so dang hectic. There's no way I would be able to keep a job. They would probably fire me the first day. You know what I mean?
mhm.
Just because, life's crazy right now, you know?
I understand. I mean, I tell you, I don't know. Uh, I it, like you said, I too am spoiled in my flexibility of doing this business in my schedule, and I don't even have little ones. I got puppies, right? My
Hey,
babies.
that's a handful too, though.
You ain't lying, especially this new one I got. He's like 9 weeks old, so that's a whole baby. But the flexibility in itself, I love that this business gives us that. It affords us that flexibility. But that in itself is motivation, like you
Mhm.
said. The motivation to say, and I gotta repeat it, I'm not going back to a job.
Mm-mm.
I'm not going back. Ladies, what is your not going back to? Like, what are you telling yourself? I'm not going back to that house. I'm not going back to that job. I'm not going back to this lifestyle. I'm not going back to settling. I'm not going back. We're not going that way. We're going forward, right? Yeah, like that is motivation enough. I tell my team all the time, like, that's what makes me get up. I'm not going back, right? And so I love, and then I have to laugh because you talked about the color coding. So I have one
Mhm.
of the agents, she's on a team with us, and every time, sometimes we kind of go through each other's leads, and I swear, every time I get her sheet, it is like rainbow bright. And I'm like, what's your system? She's like, I don't know. If it ain't green, just dial it, you know?
Yes.
So I think that's so funny. It must be a method to the madness. So ladies, color code your sheets. It's magic in it.
Yes, yes, I love it. I love it. But yeah, and I just put myself my husband and I, we put ourselves in uncomfortable situations where we don't have an option but to go to work, you know?
Mm,
Um like we sold our house, right? And the house sold before we actually were prepared for it to sell. And so we really didn't have anywhere else to go. So we ended up having to rent our house back from the people that bought it for 2 months until we
wow.
I know until we found somewhere. We actually found a house for rent. So we're renting right now, and our rent is $3,000 a month, which is absurd. So I know,
Whoa.
like, it's real uncomfortable, knowing that each month it's going to come around, we've got to pay this money for rent, or we're not going to have anywhere to live. So,
Right.
I mean, obviously we're working on finding, a place to buy a house. We were just so unsure with this business where we want to live, where we want our kids to go to school. And so, we have the opportunity. It doesn't matter where we move. We can always still work.
Hmm. That's the
So
beauty of it. That's the beauty of it. You have that flexibility, and that's awesome. You know what? I've been, as you heard, we've been doing Thrive for a year and a half. And I have not heard, you're the first person to say this. We put ourselves in uncomfortable situations to stay focused. Did y'all catch that,
yeah,
lady? Wow. You put yourself in, so yeah, that's that piece that makes you get up and go because you already know, listen, it's uncomfortable, but I know I have something that's going to bring me comfort,
hmm
that's going to make
I
it
mean,
better.
I know I can do this if I have leads and I have a working phone. It doesn't matter what happens. I know I can get somebody on the phone. I know it without a shot of a doubt. And
Yeah.
that's just me being relentless on the phones, not scared to make the dials, not scared to get cussed out if they're feeling some type of way.
Right.
I give it right back to them, like this is from you. Like, you think I want to be calling you? You know what I
Right.
mean? So I don't know. It's like I said, I don't see myself as in sales, to be honest. I just see myself in this to help people.
Right. I love it what you said. Sean Mike, I was at a lockout in Florida for any ladies who were down in Florida with me at the lock-in when Sean Mike said, you know, why should we be intimidated or scared? They're the ones that submitted the request. They're bothering us. We're not bothering them. We're the ones that have to respond back to them. In essence, you basically pretty much said the same thing, and that's so true. And so we just have to have thick skin. I feel like as women, mothers, like I said, just the roles that we play, just being women, we automatically have a whole set of skills and toughness that just our male counterparts just don't have. It's just a little
That's right.
different. We have some different fiber in us. Nothing against the fellas. We love our guys, but and it shows up. For example, mess with my kids, right? Mess with my
Yeah.
money, right? Mess with my mama. Those are my
hmm
three, right? And so we have our three, and so it definitely shows up to allow us to be have that thick skin that we really need. There was another question in the chat. Your husband. We know that your husband is the one that got you into this mess. That's
I know.
insurance, right? And so does he still do the business? Are you two a team or is it just mostly you? Because I'm not gonna lie, and maybe it's just because I'm prone to I always want to shout out the ladies, but I always see you. Is he still doing the business? Like, what is the dynamics there?
So we call him my assistant now. Okay. So I'm just
Hey,
messing. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So look, so he actually is the one that started working the vet leads. Okay. And
okay,
he started working the vet leads, and he just had a lot of, you know, um and this just might be because he's not good on the phones, or like he doesn't know how to deal with rebuttals or whatever, but he would sell like 3 or 4, and then he would go like 3 weeks without any sales, right? And so he kept telling me, he was like, Meighan, I think you could really crush these leads. He was like, I feel like these people really prefer a female over me. And I was like, Jesse, you're good. You can sell water, to a whale. Like, you're really good at what you do. He was like, I'm just telling you, there's something about it. I feel like you could freaking kill it. And I was like, okay, well, let me try. So I was always the one to build the business and recruit, and he was always the salesperson. Well, now, since I guess we got back from convention, I'm the one that's been working the vet leads. And I swear to y'all, he's like, I freaking told you. I told you it's something about these leads and these vets and women. He was like, if you're a woman and you don't work vet leads, you're crazy. He was like, I'm telling you, these people just want to talk to women. And I was like, hey, you might be onto something. So, I mean, that's all the leads I work are the vet leads.
At least. Nice. Yeah,
But yeah, he is in the business. He helps me with, interviews and following up with, like Americo or stuff like that. But I'm the one doing all the selling right now.
awesome. Awesome. So talk to me about, I know you're building. How is your team building? Well, okay, let's go back to me and you yesterday, right?
This is
Okay,
sensitive.
girl. Okay, I know. I'm gonna try to put my good skates on. Okay.
You're good.
So I know, I'll share a little, and then I'm gonna let you just
Go
do
ahead.
what you do. Okay. So I do know that, again, as you mentioned before, you were with a captive agency, and that went to the left pretty fast. I know you built the team before. Ladies, I just want to let y'all know, Meighan ain't new to this. She true to this. Her and her husband, they've been through, the ringer. So if you are building a team, or you've been a part of a team that went way to the left or derailed, you have yet one of our other Thrive sisters right here who has experienced the same thing firsthand. But she did not let it stop her, because she's a Thrive chick, right? And she did, and her husband, they didn't let it stop her. So again, building that thick skin. How are you now with building, knowing that what you've come out of?
Okay. So, and I'm gonna be
I hope
100%
I did good,
honest.
Meighan.
You did great. So I'm going to be 100% honest with everybody. When I first got into this business and this industry, I was always like told, recruit everybody, hire everybody, recruit everybody, hire everybody. So what did I do? I took to social media. I ended up going viral on one of the social media platforms, and I started setting up interviews for people to schedule. I was literally onboarding tons and tons of people a day, to the point where I had to hire somebody to help me do the interviewing. So at this point, I mean, I had people coming off TikTok that were writing 10,000 their first weekend in the field, right? So, I was really dialed in to helping trying to help all these people. But what I will say is, I don't think hiring everybody is the best way to go, honestly, because I had an agency doing $400 or $500 a month, and now I'm back to like 6 writers maybe.
Mm.
And that is hard, but I will say I want to say I had even though I had that many agents, my business was not solid. And even though I had that many agents writing business, that doesn't mean their business was solid, right? So now I truly tell everybody, I don't think hiring anybody and everybody is the way to go to have a solid business, because you put all that work in for it to just go south, you did nothing, right? So reaching out to people, telling people your warm market, I feel like is going to build you a solid foundation to be able to grow a solid business. And that's just from my experience. It was hard, but at the end of the day, you got to be humble, and I know I can do it again. So that's where we are.
Yeah, no, right when we had that conversation yesterday, my heart immediately, I told you right then, I said, you my sister, because number one, you didn't let it stop you. You didn't let it derail you, and you're still in this thing, and you're still moving forward. And I totally agree. Like, I think I love seeing a lot of people build. We want to build. We understand the power of leveraging our time, but is it really true leverage if it's not built on honesty? Your foundation is everything, right?
Yeah,
It's like having the you got to have that good blueprint, but most importantly, you really have to have that solid, strong foundation. That concrete has to be laid right. If it's not laid right, the house is going to fall. And
that's right.
so that is just awesome advice, ladies. I hope that y'all get that and understand that, especially because we as women, we're pretty heartfelt, right? Oh, I understand. We're coddlers, we're very understanding, we're nurturers. And so sometimes our skepticism and our spidey senses may not always be turned on at the right places at the right time with the right people. So I'm happy that you had the strength to continue to keep going, and you're looking to, of course, rebuild again. And I love what you said. You did it before. You can
I
do it
can do it
again.
again.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
you can
mean,
do it again.
what other opportunity am I going to be able to go out, one day and be able to pay my month's rent, on like two
Exactly.
sales? I mean,
Yeah.
it's that's this nothing exists. This is the best opportunity. You just have to keep focused, keep your mind on it, and that's it.
That's it. Hey, listen, that's why we can't work for nobody else. They can't pay us enough, right?
Ain't going back.
I ain't going back. Drop, I ain't going back in the chat, ladies. We are not going that way. We're going forward. So somebody, there was another question, and I think this is just excellent. What is the biggest message that you have for someone who's new, but a little scared to get started?
Okay, so what is it you're scared of? So if you're scared of, like, if you have a full-time job, are you scared of the transition? Are you scared to buy leads? Are you scared to dial the phone? Like, what you got to find out what you're like scared of. And, if it's the phones that you're scared of, I would say you need to be in Zoom all day, like all day, listening to people dial. And you have to, like I said earlier, you have to get uncomfortable, or it's just not going to work.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to get uncomfortable, and you know, um, you just have to be relentless on the phones. You have to be comfortable enough to call people. You're you're the professional. You steer the conversation. Don't be afraid of, like, are you scared of what questions they might ask you? Because I've had people tell me that, like, I don't know how to respond to people's questions. Well, I mean, fake it till you make it. Get in Zoom and listen to how people are responding to certain questions. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a solution for everything. You just got to figure out what you're scared of.
Yeah. One of the things that we talk about on our team is, you got to stay around. You want to be with people, right? Being on an island by yourself is the quickest way to be out of here,
That's
right?
right.
And that's one of the reasons why I'm dedicated to Thrive. I mean, this is my baby. But I want it to grow. I want it to be big. I want us to have 100 ladies up here. I feel like this is one of the best calls, and it's specific for us. But I also feel that, any excuse will do. And if you're in that island by yourself, then that can also be an excuse. And we don't want to make an excuse. We have so many forums that we have in place to fit everyone. We got the Monday night call. We got the,
Mhm.
Tuesday, the CRM call to help you with the system. Now we got another call that helps you with advanced markets. We got the orientation call on Saturday. Like, we have something just about every single day of the week. And then we keep our Zoom open, which is the virtual office, all day long for you to come right in, ask questions, and make yourself at home. And just like you said, get in where you fit in. So any excuse can do, but I love it what you said, be relentless. And if you're going to be uncomfortable doing something for somebody else, you might as well be uncomfortable doing something for yourself. That's the way
That's
I
right.
see it. Yeah. So, hey, we're not going back. That's the
We ain't
thing.
going back.
We're not going back. That should have been the theme for tonight. We're not going back. We're going
That's
forward.
right.
So, now there was another question I saw. Yeah. So how do you handle as far as like the reluctancy of dealing with perhaps a certain audience? And have you ever had a situation where I know your husband said, no, you're good at this. This is, it's built for a female, blah, blah, blah. But we already know, I feel females are the best saleswomen. I mean,
Hmm.
we can sell you and not have to say a word. All we gotta do is put on the sexy dress and honey, it's gonna be sold, right? Right.
Yeah.
Work what you got. So what do you feel is sometimes the reluctancy that women have in this industry that's male dominated,
Hmm.
if any?
I mean, yeah,
Because
for sure. Like well,
like we talked about it, you and I talked about it yesterday, and I said, one of the things that I am passionate about is getting more females on stage,
for
right?
sure.
We have our conference, we have our our mini conferences and quarterly conferences and all these things, and it's the guys. And
Right.
one of the things that I'm working towards, which ladies, I'm really working really hard at this, and I need everybody's participation, is I want to host a women's conference. I think it's necessary. I think we need it. It's so many things that we can unpack to help empower one another and to
Hmm.
fix each other's crowns. But then we turn around and we go to all these big conferences, and it's like all the guys.
Right.
So how can we break down, or in your opinion, how can we help to break down some of these walls to get rid of the status quo of, oh, this is what it is, when we know we are the best salespeople, even though we don't want to say we're salespeople, but we know that we are.
I mean, honestly, I doubted myself before I started doing this. And I mean, I know there's a bunch of killers on this call, and I feel like every single one of us can be a killer. I feel like we doubt ourselves too much, like as soon as I found out that I was in the Americo bonus, I was like, oh, I ain't stopping now. I got to keep going, because I had my mind on something, and I was like, yep, if I make it to this amount, I know what I'm planning. Just because I do so much for everybody, I'd never do anything for myself. So that kind of pushes me to be able to go a little bit harder to get to what I want to do for myself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I get it. And it is the push, right? Um, I think I'm just a fan of us as ladies, because I know what we can do. And at the end of the day, if you really want it done, what they say, give it to a woman, because we know it's going to
Yeah,
get done, right?
that's right.
And it's going to get
That's
done right.
Yeah, that's like earlier before we left the house. I gave my husband my son's my baseball uniform. All he had to do was get the socks. And why did I turn around and this joker's got on black socks when he's supposed to have on blue socks? And I said, "Why do you have on black socks?" And he just pointed at his dad. I was saying, "But you can't even put the right color socks on him." So I mean, if
Yes.
if we want it done, we got to get it done, and that's something I've always had in the back of my mind. Even being a mom, being a wife, having animals, I guess selling insurance now. Like if I want it done, I can get it. I know I got to do it.
That's right. We wear lots of things, and we wear 'em well. So, ladies, I want to open it up. Are there any ladies out there that would like to directly ask Meighan a question? You know, she is killing it out here, doing about 20, 30 a month, every month with ease, seems like to me. Any
I
questions?
know
Anyone else? Go
March,
ahead.
I did like 39, 8, something, something. And I was like,
Hey,
dang, I almost hit 40, but I'm not there. I'll get there soon, but I just got to keep
it's
going.
coming, girl. It's coming. Anybody else have any questions for Meighan tonight that they want to open up for her while we got her?
You don't have me long. No, I'm just kidding. This has
I
been
know that's
fun.
right. Well,
Uh,
I am.
I'm
Go ahead.
sorry. I have to say, congratulations, because from what it sounds like to me, it's like, sure, your husband got into the business, but then you got into it and took over. And so now it seems like you're the one. That's why I asked, was he still in the business? It seems like you're the one in the lead now and he's behind. Whereas
Playing
before it
catch
was the
up.
other way. Yes, it was
That's
the other
right.
way around. And usually, us as women, we're supporting that male role so he can
Mhm.
succeed and get in that winner's
Right.
circle. But we are left behind. And
Right.
unfortunately, I've been in two marriages where I supported the man get to success. And now here I am at the bottom, and I'm divorced from both of them and all of that. And I'm like, man, what if I had done what you did and supported myself and got
Right.
there? What would have happened? Where
Right.
would I
And
be right now? And so I have to commend you because you're doing it and you're still married and you got kids.
right.
Go
Thank you. Well,
figure.
for
Go
sure. Well,
figure.
I appreciate that. But I think, obviously, I love my husband, but it doesn't matter if you're in a perfect marriage. It doesn't matter if your marriage isn't so great. At the end of the day, if you have kids that depend on you, here I am all this time where my husband knew how to sell. What what if something goes sideways and something happens and I don't know how to do it? I gotta put my foot on the gas and figure it out. I've got a family to support. We've just got so much more to take care of as women, as wives, as mamas, as it falls on us. So now that I feel like I know what I'm doing, I know how I can sell and make money and feed my family, I feel like, a weight was lifted off. So absolutely.
Yes.
Love that. I love that she said that. That is such an amazing and truly accurate assessment. We spend, ladies, a lot of time building up our male counterparts. And we end up sometimes being left holding the bag, and it's not, ugh. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, but it's like, dang, we spent all this time pouring, and then what do we have left to show for it? So yeah, for sure. Kudos to you for stepping up, showing up, and showing out. KG has her hand raised.
What up, Megan?
Hey,
Thanks so much. And again, thanks, Crystal. I have a question for you. As we're bringing new agents in the agency, a lot of them have a tough time, even with the initial conversation of not spending the money that they make, whether they sold a warm market lead or an actual lead on their first initial sales. And they struggle with reinvesting and the importance of reinvesting. Can you kind of talk about why it's important to reinvest, and put money to the side so that your business does not tank?
yeah, for sure. So that's actually a really good point. So I've dealt with that a lot in the past too, with a lot of agents that I brought onto the business. And the whole thing is like, you want to make sure your agents are paid, obviously, but you also want to make sure that whenever it's time to buy leads, you buy leads. And that's how I kind of look at it, right? Even though I got paid a little bit on a policy, even if it's Monday, each Monday I buy leads. I don't care if I haven't sold anything. I don't care if I'm up on my leads. I'm still buying leads on Monday. So it's so important to reinvest into your business, because if you don't like if you don't have anybody, if you don't have leads, you don't even have a business. Like if you don't have anybody to talk to, you don't have a business really, you know? So like you have to, you just have, you just have to. I mean, what are you doing if you don't reinvest, you know? Like even
It's
if,
that non-negotiable. Mm-hmm.
yeah, like you have to, like, you know, what happens if Target goes and say, or Sam's goes and says, hey, we're not going to stock any salad this week? You know, like how many people are going to be mad that they didn't stock salad, right? I mean it's kind of simple. So I always just, hey, like you got to be willing to do this. You got to be willing to do this. You're going to have to get uncomfortable. You're going to have chargebacks. And usually chargebacks do happen around the 3-month mark for new agents, you know? And so that's when it kind of gets tough and people start to kind of go back in their shell and they're like, oh, I got a chargeback. Well, you should be fine. You know, you shouldn't be hurting. You know, we planned on this. So it's just the whole structure of the business. You just, and even if you want to do a separate business account versus your personal, I suggest that. That's the way I do it. You know, um, I don't know if that answered your question at all, but
That was perfect. The whole salad concept, I'm adding that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, you don't have to use salad. You could use like dog food or beer or wine or something better, but you know, like stuff people need, like to stay in business or to stay, you know, to stay getting sales.
No, you're right. Because I'll go to my favorite grocery store and they have a particular product on women's products that I use. And if they don't have it, I'm like, I done took 5 minutes out my day to come
Right.
and get, and they not here.
Yeah, I know how it
Yeah.
is.
We know how we are about our stuff.
For sure.
About our products.
Yeah. And so we got to be the same and be adamant about our business.
Yeah, it's just like restocking the shelves.
Yeah.
You just got to keep going.
Yep. That's right. I love it. You're not lying. I'm using that too, Megan. Any other questions as we wrap it up?
I got one. Hi, Megan. Casey, hi. Hey, so it sounds like you have a family of your own.
I do.
I have 4 kids. They're 8 and under. And I'm just starting. I'm a newbie here. So I'm just wondering, how do you balance it all? You know, being involved in your kids' life, but also making ends meet, helping provide and bringing a comfortable income. In the beginning, was it tough, or how did you adjust to that?
Are you full-time right now or are you part-time?
I mean, I just started. I'm thinking I'm going to be part-time, and school's out now. And so they're home for the summer.
Do you have another source of income, or is this it?
My husband works. My baby daddy.
Okay, so what I would say is, you know, a lot of times people get into this business and say they're going to start part-time, but they don't commit to themselves. And it ends up, you buy leads, you dial through a few, you might sell one policy, you end up having a chargeback because you're part-time. You didn't give yourself enough chances to win. So what I would say is, you know, if you are part-time, it's got to be a non-negotiable. Are you working every weekend? Are you working every other weekend? You know, and as somebody that's been in the business, I've seen people come in saying they're part-time, they're going to work every weekend, and they only end up showing up one weekend out of the month, and they're like wondering why the system didn't work for them. You know, then they're like talking bad about the business, but realistically, they didn't bet on themselves and didn't show up for themselves, and it just didn't work. So you have to be fully committed to your part-time schedule, whatever that should be. And, you know, like, is your husband going to help with the kids? Are they going to go to daycare? You just have to figure out what your schedule is going to be and make it work the hours you're working.
Sure. Yeah. So did they say they show up only once a week and work all day Saturday? Because I plan on doing about 15 to 20 hours a week. I could fit that in my schedule.
So, I mean, but that's up to you. Like, don't expect full-time results or, you know, with part-time hours. So you just have to realize, like, hey, if I'm only working this many days a week, you know, like are you gonna like try to put more days into your schedule to work? Are you gonna, does that make sense? You got to be able to have the time to get your business where it needs to go, or it won't take off like you're wanting it to.
Sure. Yeah, I don't really have high expectations right now. It's all the training and all like the dials. I'm making mistakes. I'm calling. I'm in Zoom. I'm learning a lot for sure, you know, and I don't expect to have the
If
full.
you can well, if you can get on the phone and be comfortable dialing and talking to people, you'll be fine. But, you know, just commit to yourself and be like, hey, this is the days I'm working. This is the time I need help with the kids. If you can do that, you'll be fine. It'll start to get a lot easier for you if you can commit to, you know, to a routine, a schedule, you know, that's dedicated to this. You'll be fine.
I
Sure.
love what you said. Just as we get ready to wrap up, you know, being consistent. Consistency is the key. And I love also what you said about you have to define what part-time is. I
Mhm.
think we have to define a lot of things as to what this looks like for us in this business and in this industry. Define exactly what it means to you. And once you define it and identify it, then you can work in it. You can build your plan and build a goal around it to work in it. So I'm so glad that she asked that question, Meighan. That was great, your response. So, ladies, it's that time. I have another Thrive that's in the books. Be sure to stay tuned. If you are not in the WhatsApp, the Thrive WhatsApp group chat, please drop your well, actually, I'm gonna put my number. Text me and I will add you to our chat in the WhatsApp. I should have did this at the beginning. I do apologize. And just shoot me a text message. I send out motivational stuff every once in a while. I ensure that you have this Thrive call every week. And we want to just make sure that we're here to encourage one another because, again, this is our forum for us. All right. And this allows us to not just survive, but what? To thrive. So I can't wait to see you guys next month, where we will have another dynamic lady who's going to bring us some nuggets to help us keep our crown straight. Till next time, and happy summer to all y'all parents out there who got kids that are now in the street. Get them a headset and make them dial for you. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Meighan.
Bye. Thank y'all for having me. I
Thanks,
enjoyed
guys.
it.